Hey guys, welcome to another SaaS landing page teardown. Today we have Loom, which is a product I really love. That's why we're in incognito, because I'm logged in because I use it all the time and I'm using it to make this video. I just love the product, but there's a few things in our website that are just not as good as they could be. By the way, I actually redesigned this entire page using a landing page formula just for product-led growth companies. If you'd like to know a little bit more about the before and after, the full teardown, why I made those decisions, why I redesigned it, and so on, just as a concept, as an example for this formula, just let me know, drop it in the comments, and I'll go ahead and send it over. But yeah, so jumping right into the teardown itself, looks like the thing that might be working for them the most is actually installing it on their desktop. Not sure why, but let's assume that's the case, right? Show it, say it, send it. Usually would be like a super vague headline, but because they have the brand awareness, and two, their product is very visual. You can tell exactly what it is just by looking at it, like in this case, like right here. But the problem is when we keep scrolling down, right? So for example, all of these videos, they can be embedded like natively, but they could have said which platforms were these. So like Gmail, LinkedIn, Slack messages and all this stuff. So they can instantly be embedded. And this is where they could have been a little bit more specific, but the biggest problem is just like not having enough use cases. Yes, they have use cases page for each one of these, but they don't show like an overview of exactly what they can do with this. So they can do it to avoid meetings, right? So as you can see here, they can do it to avoid meetings. They can do it to as reports. They can use it in the asynchronous, like for a lot of asynchronous communication scenarios. You can show how this might work for agencies, how this might work for sales, and all this stuff just on a high level. So then people could be direct themselves to those specific pages. The reason for that is because if you show them on a high level, if they come into the page with one use case, but then you show them three or four other ways that they can use the product, now they're going to jump into the tool way more likely to actually record more videos within the first week or whatever their activation goal is. And that makes them much more likely to become a paying user, not just a user, right? It kind of improves the stickiness. This being be yourself is like the biggest thing ever. What they should have done is that they should have said that you can record videos with or without a camera. You can record as many takes as you need. You can draw on top of things and make it really, really specific. So people that are kind of afraid of being on camera, which is a real thing, they would have that objection addressed, right? And then when we're saying more than words, we could have said that you can react to videos, you can comment on videos, you can collaborate between teams, you can record video replies, you can draw on top of the video. So there are a lot of things that make a big difference in terms of the async communication, right? So if they're trying to sell teams, which is like the highest value that they have instead of like single users, they need to sell them on the stuff of the collaboration side of things, that you can record a reply. You don't even have to use email. You can comment on each video. It automatically gets assigned to a timestamp in the video. All these sort of things, right? Yes, they did show like a few use cases here, but not that many, and they're not actually like real images that you can relate to and everything, right? So for example, even on sales, you can say, this is my proposal, and then send it over to an email. In this case, it just shows like a vague video in the background, right? So that's one of the main things that I would point out. Also in the pricing, it isn't like super clear that I can draw on top of things, right? So the custom branding is a big one, but what they could have done is they could have done like small little cards where you can say they can have your own logo, like your own dashboard. You can have insights. What kind of insights can I get? Embedding videos, that's like pretty clear. But what about the like drawing on top of the video and stuff like that? Because I know that's a paid feature. And all these things, right? They could have be a little bit more clear about, and they could have done with a high level overview, right? We wouldn't even need this stuff here, right? Lastly, the final opportunity they're missing out on is not having like webinars and stuff for customers, where they could have constantly inviting customers to live webinars, where they could just say, here's how you can use Loom in cold emails, here's the message to use, here's how you can use Loom with your quarterly reports, and you can even make this like time sensitive for a specific case, right? So let's say on the holidays, a lot of people are off. Here's how to keep like the communication asynchronous and all this stuff, right? So, right, and the second thing is their offer / pricing, which was like a very small shift in terms of like mindset shift in terms of how they're selling the product, but made a huge difference in terms of how much money they could make per account, how the virality of the entire product, how active users are. It completely transformed Loom into a much more profitable business, right? So what they've done is instead of focusing on selling their pro plan at the time, so their pro plan was around like $4. And the main features it had, it didn't have any limits in terms of videos or the 5-minute limit. And it also didn't have like limits on storage and a few other things. I think custom branding wasn't available yet, but it had like call to actions or something. They didn't have that many amazing features, but what they were focused on is they were focused on selling the pro plan, right? So selling an individual that was using it for free into someone that would pay $4 a month to get unlimited videos, to not get the 5-minute limit video, so on and so forth, right? That's all they're focusing on, and they didn't have any other offers, right? So if I show you here, this is their current plan, which is the starter. This is the starter where they have like 25 videos per person. This is the business, where this is the one they're focusing on the most, where they want businesses to have like several people using Loom at all times. And then they have the enterprise, which is the same as business, but way more expensive. And it has like some security, compliance things that they need to have, right? And probably a few other collaboration features. But if you look at even as of May 2020, they were still charging like $4 a month just for the pro plan, where they have like a few other tools like drawing on top of the video and being able to trim it and being able to not have the 5-minute limit and so on and so forth. And then what they have done in COVID-19 as of March 2020 is they removed the 5-minute limits like temporarily, and they made it free for education and stuff like that. So they saw a 20x increase in the amount of videos that people were sending, because it was like a way of doing it asynchronously. So obviously that worked out really well for them. But the thing that worked out the most is when they shift from focusing on just selling a pro plan or getting an individual person to pay for the pro plan to getting now teams paying even more, so paying around $8 to $10 a month. Entire teams paying for them, and what they did is they just focused on promoting the collaboration side of things rather than promoting the pro features, right? So that means something like the comments that people can use, like the video replies and so on and so forth. So that's what they focus on now, and they only officially launched that in October 2020. So it wasn't that long ago. It was like less than a couple years ago. And here are all the changes that they've done, right? So they changed the UI, which we're going to touch on in a second. They made sure that they added a bunch of features that are purely for business, purely for collaboration, and that mindset shift allowed them to, what they say here, even before this, they saw a 20x increase in the amount of videos just because people were sending them more often. They were now free. More people were using it. People were using it inside teams, and now they fully saw the potential of selling it to teams, right? Which they could have saw right from the beginning, right? So that's like a very tiny mindset shift that kind of changed the whole thing. And we're going to touch on a few UI changes that actually made this happen, right? So this is how they thought about doing it, and then the UI is how they actually executed on it. Right, and the third thing is the UI changes that they've made, right? So they literally changed the UI, so every single thing that you're looking at kind of promotes the idea of inviting people, creating responses, just making the whole thing more collaborative. And the more videos you share, the more videos that you don't keep to yourself, the more you're going to use it eventually. And the more other people that you invite are going to use it themselves, and it just goes on a viral loop from there, right? So even though they were like tiny changes to the UI, they made a huge difference in terms of how they got more users essentially for free, right? So as you can see, this is what the current UI looks like. So they've done everything in terms of inviting teammates to making notifications on top of your face, like the library, the private library you have versus the team workspace. They kind of forced you to create a team workspace almost. They also have like video replies and everything. If you look at a video that I sent with a client about giving them some feedback and stuff like that, we have like back and forth of some of the responses we got. So everything is very collaborative, and that's what they focused on, which they didn't focus before, right? So this is probably how you used to seeing Loom, but you probably forgot how it used to be less than 2 years ago, right? So if you look at more or less 2 years ago, I'm not sure exactly what the month, which month they changed it, but they literally just said, this is my videos. A few months before this, you weren't even able to create like folders and stuff like that. So you had just a bunch of videos, and then you would send the link, and that was pretty much it. And you would get like a notification if people see it. I'm not sure when they implemented that, but that was about it, right? Compared to what they have now, which is now they have like team folders. They have different folders. You can share individual folders. You can share individual video. You can have permissions for all of them, right? You can have anyone with a link. People can view. People can edit the video. There's a lot of things that makes it like very easy to collaborate, right? You can embed videos in other the websites and stuff like that. So they really make sure that they made those changes to almost have like a Google Doc type experience with every video that you create, right? Then they also added all these responses. They added like password access, an easy way to share with the team, like know which person in the team kind of viewed it, way to add like call to actions and thumbnails, all these different things that made it way easier to collaborate, right? So even though these look like very small changes compared to this very simple dashboard, it made a huge difference. I'm just not sure why they took so long, right? So this is, like I was saying before, this is how they executed on that new idea, that new offer and pricing shift that we talked about, right? So they focused on the collaboration side of things, and they make the viral loop just way faster, right? Because every single person is creating more videos, they're sharing it more. Now that new person understands how to use it, and then they share it more and more, right? And then lastly, I'm going to touch on the use cases, how they could have done that a little bit better, and how they're doing it currently. And the last thing that Loom does quite well, and there are a few things they could do a little bit better, and I'll tell you a little bit that in a second, is they finally implemented like use cases pages, where for every single one of different people that might want to use it, or different departments, they have like an idea of how to explain their own use cases, right? So for example, for marketing, they want to show an overview of the campaign, quarterly reviews, like product roadmap that they want to go over. They finally show the drawing tools and the collaboration side of things that they could have shown on the homepage, right? So the reactions, the comments, sharing with the entire team, having like a library just for the team or for that department, making stuff really organized, and then branching out into a bunch of different other use cases pages. So for example, when it comes to design, they really show that you can draw on top of the things. You can explain why you made those decisions. You can still collaborate. You can have a library for the entire team, and so on and so forth. Making a hands-off really smooth, that's like a really good use case that designers care about, that all designers care about quite a lot. But what they could have done way better is, instead of relying on people checking out these use cases pages, which they might only do when they're considering signing up, or when they have heard of Loom from another colleague or something like that, most of the time they'll probably just install it and try it out. They might come with one idea of how they want to use it. Maybe they want to use it for this project that is quite urgent, and the clients kind of needs a lot of async feedback, showing them how the decisions behind each thing on the design, or someone in the team, or they are just finishing ending off a huge redesign, so it's very time sensitive, and they have like one use case to just record a bunch of videos to have a smooth ends off. But what happens throughout the entire year, right? When maybe they don't have projects that are sensitive, or maybe they're just brainstorming ideas, and they might just do that with Figma Jam or something like that. What they could have done is when they sign up, they can ask, okay, who's the type of person signing up? Who's a marketing person, which they do ask. Is this a design person and stuff like that? And then only send out use cases like these, right? So did you know that you can use Loom for a smooth handoff, right? Did you know that you can embed Loom videos in Figma Jam and in Figma itself, right? Which is the tool they usually use quite a lot. Did you know that you can use this to explain the design decisions to your clients or to your colleagues, right? All these different things that they could have shown. So every single person understands exactly how to use it, right? So instead of having one use case, they have 3 or 4, right? Instead of using it once a week or once a month when they need to send out like a report or something on the marketing team, they use it every single week, or they use it every day, or they use it like 3 times a week instead of using it once a week, once a month, or whatever it might be, right? So just making that, adding more use cases, be like top of mind, just changes entirely how people use it and how they get the entire team to use it, right? So that was pretty much it. Let me know what you think about the teardown in the comments. If you're interested in seeing how I can help you, and if you're thinking, hey, this guy looks like he knows his stuff, you can go to cortez.design/apply. You can just write /apply, and it kind of redirects you here. Basically what that is you can book a free intro call with me first, where you can just go over like 15-20 minutes, kind of figure out if you're a good fit, if I can help you out, if the timing is right, because I do have like some criteria for clients, because there are clients that are a little bit too early, and there's no leverage in terms of making these tweaks because they might not have enough volume and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that whoever I'm working with is a really good fit. So we just use that call to identify that. And in case we're a really good fit, we just book another call to discuss the how, right? So this is like a 60-minute call. It's like a high-level teardown like this, where we're going to go over what the opportunities might be, what are the changes that we need to make over like a few months and stuff like that. And then I'll go over how I work with clients, pricing, and everything in that one call, right? So first we start off with an intro, then we book that call, and we take it from there, right? So if you're interested, just go to cortez.design/apply, and looking forward to seeing you on a call. Cheers.